Faith Healing, Fact or Fiction, tomorrow night at 7.
Hi, I'm Melody Rogers.
I'm Steve Edwards, and we are here on the chairlift. This is the Gold Mine ski area. Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I've never been on one before, but it's nice.
We'll be showing you around the slopes here a little bit later on at Gold Mine, which is just above Big Bear. But tonight on the program, we are going to meet a young woman with a split personality. By weekday, she's a court bailiff. By weekend, she is a would-be rodeo star.
And then we're going to show you 100 years of local television, the total experience of 3 men who made LA TV famous. Hang on, Steve.
Stay with us for 2 on the Chair.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome you to the Table Hopper. My name is Dick Coogan. Some of you may know me as Matt Wayne, the Californians. Well, this is it. This is the Table Hopper. It's a seat hopper, too. But anyway.
It wasn't long before this particular host ended up on a network series. Richard Coogan was one of many hundreds who passed through the 34 years of Los Angeles local television history. But you are about to meet 3 gentlemen who might just qualify for Ripley's Believe It or Not. They broke into the Los Angeles television market long before the Table Hopper, and they have never been forced to pick up an unemployment check. Now that's saying quite a lot, because if you totaled up their years in the public eye, you'd come up with more than a century of experience.
I'd look back here at Pan Pacific, where it all began for me, and I just sort of hope that I've weathered the years better than the building behind me has.
Oh, that's interesting. That reminds me of the late $20 rental. Well, we didn't have to pay anything for rental in those days when it was at Paramount, but we'd cart the props and the sets back and forth, right up the street like that, and then right into our own studios.
To walk onto this stage and remember the beginnings of the newscasts, contrasted then with what we have today, no visuals. And believe me, a man sitting there with no teleprompter in front of him, just reading like this, is pretty dull.
Perhaps Ted Myers, that grand old man of Channel 9, isn't being completely fair with himself. He was talking about an era when TV was considered an engineer's toy, when the closest most people got to a television set was a window at an appliance store. They simply couldn't be bored with the novelty of moving pictures in a box.
We agreed it was too bad that so many people don't have television sets. Of course, we realize they'll have them in time, but until they do, they are missing a great number of shows on television.
Stan Chambers and Bill Welch didn't have enough time to worry about audience size. They began working in Los Angeles 34 years ago, when an adventurous station chief named Klaus Landsberg had both of them in a state of perpetual motion on location assignments. Among their early triumphs, a live talk show called Meet Me in Hollywood, in which the real stars were none other than the pedestrians at Hollywood and Vine. It took almost 2 years before they knew for certain that anyone was watching. The turning point was a cliffhanger of a presidential election between Harry Truman and Tom Dewey.
Really the first big thing we did, the Dewey-Truman election in '48. We were on the air probably till 9 o'clock in the morning. It was such a cliffhanger.
At 12 o'clock, I said, folks, it's midnight. The election isn't determined yet. Here's our telephone number, Fairfax 2121. And if you want to have us stay on the air, we'll be happy to. The phones began to ring. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we had received over 5,000 responses to that one request. And all of a sudden we realized that this was no passing fancy. This was no fad like people thought it might be. Television was here to stay.
Any last doubts over television's impact were erased 1 year later, in 1949. That's when a 4-year-old San Marino girl named Kathy Fiscus fell into an abandoned well, triggering close to 30 straight hours of live coverage on Channel 5. Both Chambers and Welsh were on the scene until the little girl's body was recovered. But it wasn't until they got home that they realized the effect of their marathon live shot.
Theaters and restaurants were deserted that weekend. Got mail from people like I've never received, extensive letters, 4 or 5 pages long, telling me every little aspect of how they lived their life during the time that we were on the air. Had no idea that we'd made that impact on people.
We were there for so long. We were really alone for so long. People were kept out by the chain link fences, and we were in there talking to people. We're kind of almost like a family after 20, 25 hours, 27 hours. And it really wasn't until I went home and had a long night's sleep and woke up and then realized what had happened. And up until that time, television really had been considered a toy. And for the first time, people realized the tremendous impact that television would have on our lives of taking you to events and through events and making you be a part of them.
At present, the fire is contained. It is not what you'd say under control, but it is contained right now.
If you've lived in Los Angeles a while, you no doubt have retained the image of Stan Chambers taking his audience to and through news events, usually as the calm voice in the middle of potential disaster. He still performs the same function at Channel 5, while Ted Myers remains the grandfatherly dispenser of morning news on Mid-Morning LA on Channel 9. As for Bill Welsh, he'll be known forever as the man who never lost his enthusiasm for parades and beauty pageants. He'll be doing his 34th consecutive Rose Parade next January, a decidedly easier task than hosting the Miss Universe pageant.
May I remind you that they are always introduced in reverse order. That is, the fourth runner-up is the first girl to go on stage. Third runner-up second. The second runner-up is the third girl to appear on stage, if you follow my rather complicated figuring here. And the fourth girl to appear is the first runner-up, leaving then the one girl. Of course, when the fourth runner-up, the first runner-up, the fourth girl comes out, getting confused here myself, then you know that who the remaining girl is, and you know that she is Miss Universe.
Well, I look at it this way. For one thing, it's not like a toothache. I know it's going to end. There will be a sign-off, and I know how soon that's going to take place, so I'm not too concerned. I try to read a lot. I try to keep up on a wide variety of things so that I have some knowledge in the back of my mind as to the particular subject we're talking about, and I can expand on it and talk on it.
The Los Angeles City Council does hereby recognize Bill Welsh's outstanding talents.
It was a generation ago that Welsh made his celebrated Miss Universe miscue. If he still cringes when he sees it, he might find a little peace in the knowledge that he's the latest recipient of a star on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame. And if you want to know how Welsh earned the star, just ask Stan Chambers.
He just could ad-lib forever, just like, well, I'd say Bill Welch and Dick Lane were the two ad-lib machines of television. Everything was live. There were a few old films that we did use, but for the small staff of people here, that evening was live, no matter what happened. I was recalling a little while ago that here on the street we had a commercial with a very elaborate set, and a big wind came by, knocked the set over, but you had to go on live just the same. And that was the real excitement. It was a tremendous electricity, a tremendous appeal, and it was nerve-wracking, but it was live, and those days, of course, are gone forever.
So what if tonight, just for tonight, we revive Meet Me in Hollywood 31 years after that show went off the air? And what if we had Bill, and what if we had Stan, and what if I said to you guys, do it like you used to do it?
Okay, it's a deal.
Have at it, guys.
Well, first thing we did, we said good evening. Hi.
Good evening, everyone.
This is Hollywood and Vine. There go the two ladies I wanted to talk to crossing the street.
We always had a big crowd, though.
I know it.
30, 40 people.
Young man, all dressed up here, but look at this. You're on TV. This could be your big moment. Can you handle it? Not too tough for you, huh?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, good. I was afraid because it may be too much for me and you'll have to take over.
Is that a real camera?
Yeah, absolutely, it's genuine.
Hello, Mom. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I say that? No.
Of course you can.
What's your name?
Beth Barton.
And Beth, do you sell roses?
Yeah.
How's business?
Very good.
Where do you get the roses?
From my supplier.
And tell us about them now. What kind are they? Can we see them? Let's pick them up and let's take a look.
Well, I think they're about 22 inches. That they have red and pink.
And how is the rose business?
Oh, it's blooming.
It is.
What's your name?
Molly.
From where?
Canada.
Where are you from?
Canada.
Canada?
Yeah.
What part?
Vancouver.
Vancouver. What brought you all the way down here?
I like to travel.
You hitchhike?
Yeah.
You don't ride the bus?
No.
Do you work when you get down here or what?
Yeah.
Got a job tonight?
Yeah, I got one lined up.
What is that?
Chambermaid.
Chambermaid?
Yeah.
That pay well?
Yeah, at the Holiday Inn.
At the Holiday Inn? That's very good. You know, in Europe, they tip the chambermaids.
They do. Yeah, I heard
Tip you
about
here?
that on David Jan. What's that? David Jans.
Oh, did he say so?
No.
Michael Jackson?
No.
Some other Jackson.
John Davidson.
John
So,
Davidson. I knew we'd get it right.
so-
Hollywood and Vine.
Where else? I know this is something by Beethoven, but can we interrupt it?
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead.
What do people say about your music?
I get a lot of positive response. I've been doing it for since my last lifetime, so
What was that
I've been doing it for about 3.5 years. Started down in New Orleans, so I've been getting a lot of positive here and a lot of places in the nation.
What do you say to people who say there are a lot of characters in Hollywood Boulevard?
Well, there are. I agree. But there's a lot of good energy down here. It's really nice.
Okay, something by Bach, maybe?
Something by Bach?
Yeah, let's-
How about a little bit of Chinese bluegrass, Russian punk, and country reggae?
Sounds great.
Whatever it is, I'm for it. There we go.
Now tell us, you have a single rose there. Where did you get a single rose?
Well, there's a lady walking down the street selling them.
Welcome to Hollywood and Vine.
Thank you very
Tell me,
much.
Steve, where do you live?
I right down the street and around the corner and into the valley.
I see.
We have been standing here watching. First of all, the crowd is getting bigger and bigger here at Hollywood and Vine, and this has been interesting. I have a feeling that somebody's going to watch this thing tonight and say, get those two guys, find out if they're under contract. We got a new show to put on the network.
Well, we would still have been here if Klaus Landsberg had decided on a new musical show called The Lawrence Welk Show. That's what preempted us.
Right.
You guys lost out to Welk?
Yeah. He never lasted, though. It was only on briefly.
Flash in the pan. Nobody will listen to accordion music anyway.
Of course not.
Well, I have enjoyed this, and it was a pleasure for me and all of us to meet you guys in Hollywood again.
Oh, hey, it was a thrill for me.
And me too.
Stan, you're so dignified in your three-piece suit. I tell you, the man has really gone a long way in this world. I'm proud to say that I worked with him in our early days.
Oh, Bill, just great being back. 30 years we're back here together. Of course, we work right across the street from each other, KTTV and KTLA, so we're neighbors.
And we are right up the block from where Bill's star is. So if you come by and see it,
Right. Thank you.